Okay, RP. Just doing up a couple orange falks before I gotta pick up the wife here. And next we're going for nice Appalachia whitetail on a chunk roughly about the size of the gap of the hook. Now we're just going to brush out all the underfur. Stuff's pretty dirty. Must have been harvested late fall. But it's got a nice dark upper patch that I like for these. So. Give me a second to get this cleaned up. A lot easier to do over my wastebasket. And that thinned out pretty good, so roughly about the size of the gap. If you're doing a bunch of these, you can kind of just go by feel. Pop that into the hair stacker. I've been battling static in here. No one's business, which is a bit weird for this time of year because it's really wet out. But it is what it is. Yeah, that's good enough. Could be a little tighter, but it's definitely good enough. Measure that just kind of past the tail connector, right past the butt. One wrap. See, I can grab those hackles back a bit. There we go. Do one wrap around the clump like that. That stops it from shifting nearly as bad. into our wraps forward. Just increasing in tension. Oh, stop following me around. There you go. Seriously. Yeah. Get me some anti-static dryer sheets or some Scotch guard. Not gonna change the fly at all, but make the tying a bit easier. Okay, so we're going to gather that up. Get a bunch of wraps up the front here. I'm basically just going to create a little bit of a dam. I'll deal with that guy after. If they would stop jumping in front of me like that, that'd be great. Hey, thanks for the new sub, I appreciate that. I've been tying with this deer patch for a while. It's great deer quality. It's just the lack of humidity in here right now. I don't know if it's just from my electric heaters running a little bit more in the shoulder seasons than the wood stove, but the wood stove sucks moisture out way worse than they do. I just need to get some anti-static stuff and I'll be set. It's not a big deal. Okay, anyway, just threw a couple half hitches on there, but got the new subscriber and lost track how many I threw in, so just gonna throw one more in for good measure in case I miscounted. Then we're gonna cut this front off, about a 30-degree angle or so, and that'll create a little front on it. And that helps to, not only does it look more like a sedge or caddis head, but it helps to pop the water. Kind of going crazy down there now. Sorry, my side of the fly was looking a lot better than your guys' side of the fly. There we go. So you can still get your hook in fine. There's tons of room there. Just shove it in up from the bottom. It makes a really nice pop if you're landing it on the water and you want to just nudge it ahead. Cool. Alright, just gonna do whip finish in the middle here to tie it off. I like to tie it off on the bottom on these because there's a lot more room and it can soak it in. There we go. So that is an orange Falk. It's basically tied. Audrey Joy was the first one to tie patterns along these lines, and he kind of borrowed it or took it from her. He was around the same time she was. And he was from Aberdeen Walsh, around Portland, Oregon. Hers used to be more on the olive side though, and didn't have the tail, so it'd be more of like your classic sedge or I don't know what it is about this slightly off orange, but it drives the brook trout nuts. I have no idea why, because we don't have any natural bugs that I'm aware of that are orange like that. But well, I guess grasshoppers. We do get orange grasshoppers like that. But even in your like bait casting lures and spinners and stuff, that orange or red and chartreuse just drives me nuts. Hey, one more for the wine cork. Go hang out with its brothers and sisters here. Which side did I have it going on? 1 second here. You're the last one? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Not last one yet. 2 more. There's all the other ones. Nice little grouping. Getting pretty good consistency there. They're not all exactly straight on the cork, but close enough. I could do a couple dozen of those. They work best as like a dry fly, but man, though, I use them quite often just dragging them behind my canoe. And I put my bobbin down, I can't find the thing. There it is. I'm getting low on this thread though, you can see the black showing through. I might only have enough for 2 flies. And it's starting to break on me because it's binding on the last part of the spool, so we're just gonna give her and see how many I can get out of this last bit of thread here. But I got 4 or 5 more 200-yard spools, so I just need to switch it up. And it's gonna be a booger and not come off for me. Yeah, I think it's the wood stove too. We've had a lot of rain lately, and I really just expected this static to leave for a while. It just hasn't. But it's just static. I mean, first world problems, right? Could have a lot worse. I got a happy home, a full belly, and a happy wife, so I cannot complain. Just prepping a golden pheasant feather here. It's kind of messed up on this side, so I might not get 4 whole flies out of that. I might only get 3 or 2. 3. I'll get 3. So that's probably a bit much there. I mean, this is a really old pattern, so I don't think you're probably ever going to see this in a fly shop. But if you did, and it was commercially tied, they're probably going to go with a lot less tail fibers. I like to try and pinch them in half, at least kind of fold them in half, because you'll get that really nice orange on the front side of the feather, just that beautiful iridescent orange, but the back side's, pretty flat. The front has that nice orange. So if you fold it in on itself so the dull side's in the middle, it just, in my opinion, it just looks better. Absolute personal preference, so it's not going to hurt nothing. And I'm just going to tie that in to build the body up. You're more than welcome to switch it off. Make a nice base back up to the point. There we go. I like to tie it in so this black and a little bit of the orange is shown, so you get that definition. Fish see definition better than they see colors or shape or anything else. So, let's see. The next thing we're going to tie in is one of these. Just really fine copper wire. I actually get these out of old electrical cables, like USB cables. We'll have this really fine, 100% pure, nice and soft but strong. As you know, USB cables take a lot of abuse, and you'll get gobs of them in one USB cable. If I remember off the top of my head, I think each colored strands, you got 4 strands. Normally a red, a green, a white, and a black. Your 5-volt positive and negative, and then your 2 data cables. Each have 15 strands in it, so if you get a 6-foot or 10-foot cable and you cut that up, that's a lot of strands. It costs you nothing because you're going to throw the thing out anyway. But the difference between this and like the copper wire that you buy on a spool, like this guy, I got plenty, so I don't need to trash USB cables to get it, but the major difference is the temper. Temper on this, it's a lot harder, like if you're helicoptering it off. The temper's softer. It's just a different temper. This is a little bit more durable, and since I'm not ribbing the fly for looks to really make segmentation or ribs, I'm ribbing it to hold the hackle in. I want something that's flexible and durable, more like a thread than I necessarily want. More so than I necessarily want something that's going to make a rib that's going to show. If I'm doing a rib, then I'm going to press down to show through a dubbed body or what have you. I would be using a manufactured wire like that. The other difference you'll find with something like a USB cable wire is they're not twisted, so they're set together. If you're using something like speaker cable or different ones, then that's a stranded pair, and they're going to be twisted together, so they're a real pain to get apart. You can do it. It's just you want to probably cut it into lengths about the size of your hand. Stranded like that is typically varnished, which isn't bad for fly tying, but if it is varnished, it has a coating of varnish on it, so it's not straight copper, which may or may not cause you issues. But I just want to go for straight copper. It's not discoloring the hackle or anything. You can use floss on this, you can use wool, you can even dub the body. Behave yourself there. You can even dub the body. No right or wrong way about it. Let's get covered up with hackle. This is some very old, come on, very nice. This is some very old sparkle yarn. Stopped making it in the early 80s, 70s. I thankfully have a couple of shanks of it left. You can still find it in I do like the body to taper up like that. It just gives the fly a much better look. Thinner on the back, and you're kind of doubling up your wraps as you go up. You can go all the way to the front, and then back up and do a second row is another way to do it. I got Savage Fly's theme song going here. But yeah, this was kind of like the first Antron before they actually came out with Antron. It was the same company. They called it Sparkle Yarn, and it's got UV, really early UV fibers kind of mixed into it. You can see how it is really kind of weirdly iridescent, and it just pops in the sunshine. The lights here don't do it justice. But at the end of the day, it is just yarn. It's nothing special. I just geek out about it. We're going to do some grizzly hackle. This is off one of the new capes I got, so I've been having fun with that. Or saddle, actually, not cape. Saddle. And I like to generously oversize my hackle on these. we're going for at least 1.5. If not 2 times the gap of the hooker. And why I do that is those ones just seem to work better. I don't have any rhyme or reason for it, but fish don't follow fly tying books, so. For whatever reason, those ones last longer and just seem to work better for me. I'll do a quick half hitch here. I left a bit of a ridge there. I'm expecting it's going to give me a little trouble, but we'll see how it goes. Just removing a few more hackles from the start there so I can get a clean start. I'm hoping it'll lay back a little bit more than that. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. I really prefer wrapping my hackles without the pliers on, but for this part it's nice to have it in case it decides to go boing. Okay, so I'm going to lay it down on about a 30 at the end here. And we're going to take our nice soft wire. I'm going to try and not grab all the hackle fibers. I like to get 2 good wraps, kind of almost in the same location for that first part, just to hold that in. And we're just going to wrap it up, cross wrapping, and just moving it back and forth. It's generally all you need to do to stop the hurl or the hackle from getting bent down. And as you're going across, you're going to be crossing the hackle radius or stem. And I like to try and cross that on my side of the fly. Doesn't matter, but if I do it on my side of the fly, I can see what I'm doing. Make sure I get a nice clean cross without pinning down too many. I think that actually went pretty well there. There's 1 or 2 in the front there that are just being buggers. Wouldn't normally cut them out this early, but they honestly look a little bit on the soft side, like I should have probably taken them out anyway. back up to working length here. It's already trapped in. And then we're just gonna lay it back. Go back up to our hackle point. Not only are we tying in the copper here, but we're laying it smooth so we can get the wing to sit proper. Have a nice smooth spot to do the wing. Like I was saying, this stuff, you know, just a couple twists and it'll work hard and come out. So much easier to work with if you're wrapping thin bodies. If you're trying to wrap a thick body or thin body with a harder annealed wire, then it doesn't want to bend and it'll start kinking. You'll notice that a lot. So if you get a softer wire, it doesn't have to be a more expensive wire or anything. It's just the way the wire is annealed. And they do that on purpose on cords that you're going to be moving around a lot, like USB cables or power cords. Just cut the back bit out there. Just gonna dress this up a little bit. How's your guys' side look there? Not too loose, guys. Yeah, I'm happy with that overall. It's a messy fly though. It's not supposed to be winning any pageant contest. Once we clean that up, I think that'll be about the right size. Other tip too, especially if you're fighting static. I don't normally have a big issue with static, but today, the last few days I haven't. Is to fight the temptation to rub your fingers through your hair while you're trying to clean it. Every time you grab your hair and you stroke it back, you're adding charge to it. If you use a metal tooth comb like this, it's plastic, it isolates it so it doesn't actually add more static to it. Alright, let's stack and tie this. Call it a night for now. Biggest problem with static buildup is really the stacking portion, because it doesn't like to slide the stacker and butt up as well as it could. It's not horrible, but obviously if they're not attracted to each other, they'll slide more independently. That's a pretty little bunch though, look at that. I'm happy with that. I really like the color on this, that real dark with the light tips. Our whitetail just don't get that color here. They're more like chestnut brown than this almost like ash color brown. Okay, so one wrap. Man, that one hackle fiber is still gonna drive me nuts. God. Yeah, I should have just taken care of it when we started. I just don't want to be fighting it the whole time I'm tying this down. Okay, so increasingly harder wraps as we move forward, but they're all basically still medium to light wraps. Back again. Get some more medium wraps back. How you do that part is completely personal preference because it's all about how much your wing is going to flare out. If you put heavier wraps, it's going to be flared right out. One thing you can do to help adjust that is just run your thumbnail along the hair fibers at the bottom. That'll coach them down a little bit, you can see. It's not a fix-all end-all, but it does help to tame it a little bit. And I'm not so sure if it's kind of like straightening a ribbon or if it's taking a little bit of the static out, but it works. Grab these. Ones there. Let's try that. And again, this helps to just stand that up. You can see you got lots of room in there to tie your hook in, or your line. Hook's already there. I'm going to throw a double half hitch, single half hitch. Couple reasons for that. One is it stabilizes the head, so you got two tie-in points. And two, if you're gonna end up cutting your thread, it's probably gonna be like cutting this front part. The last thing you want to try and do is fighting that bundle of deer hair that's trying to unwrap itself. So again, up in there, with a 30-degree angle, right along the hook point, and just one cut. Wraps on top here and just a couple more back. Neaten that up. I do have a couple on top here that are just little party animals. Let's see if we can nail them down a bit. There we go. That's better. I like the same V point from the head to that. There's some kind of loose fiber floating around there. Where? Oh, is that hackle fiber? Okay, I'm gonna get rid of these two before I tie that off because they're driving me nuts. happy flak. I should do up a bunch of these in like forest green too. Great. Mimic like a big dragonfly. Yeah, you want to have a nice open spot underneath there where you can tie in. There's plenty of room on the head to tie yourself in. It also lets you have a nice spot to put a nice dollop of head cement. I like to go all the way around with my head cement, but you don't have to. If you tie off on the bottom here, this will be all you need. But I do like to bring it all the way up. This obviously gives it that little bit more durability. This guy's a little more punk rocker than I normally go for with him, but I think that's just the static. It'll dissipate after a bit. One other trick you can do if you're tying up a bunch of these, yeah, that's static. You can see it springing up after. I'll have to get some anti-static stuff and just rub it down, and it'll be fine. But one thing you can do if you're tying up a bunch of these, I don't have any around here, but assume this is a drinking straw, it's just smaller. You can pop it over your fly like that. Let's say if this was like half the size, like one of those big Slurpee straws, and you can just leave it overnight on there like that, and it'll pin the hair right down and give you a nice tubular look. You don't need to leave it on that long, even an hour or two would be enough. Oh, there's another flak for the cone. Look at that, getting her filled up. That's a fluffy wine cork right there. I think we're at a dozen now. Getting pretty close, maybe 10. You're a little fluffier than your brothers and sisters there, but you're all a good bunch. Look at that. So you get that many flies, and this was a new chunk of hair. You can see how much I've been cutting off there. Not a whole lot. I decided to use this different color and got that many flies out of it already, so you get a lot out of one of these little squares. Alright guys, well, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I'm going to go pick up the wife from work.